Κυρώσεις κατά της Ρωσίας, καθώς η ανθρωπότητα βιώνει πρωτόγνωρη κατάσταση, εξέφρασε ο πρέσβης της Ουκρανίας στην Κύπρο. Σε αποκλειστική συνέντευξή του στο Σίγμα, ο Ρούσλαν Νιψίμσκι διαμηνύει πως οι διαπραγματεύσεις θα καθορίσουν το περιθώριο υποχωρήσεων. Ξεκαθαρίζει ωστόσο πως για την ένταξη της χώρας του στο ΝΑΤΟ μόνος κριτής είναι ο Ουκρανικός λαός. Αρνείται τις κατηγορίες για δράση ακροδεξιών ομάδων ενάντια στους ρωσόφωνους, αποδίδοντάς τες στη ρωσική προπαγάνδα. Πώς τοποθετείτε στην ερώτηση γιατί δεν υπήρξε η ίδια αντίδραση στην εισβολή της Τουρκίας στην Κύπρο, στο βίντεο που ακολουθεί.
Mr. Ambassador, thank you for accepting our invitation.
Thank you for coming.
So, do you feel that the United Nations, the European Union, and the US are doing enough to help the plight of the people suffering war and ravage in Ukraine?
Well, first of all, I have to say that people of Ukraine is deeply grateful for all the efforts, for all the assistance that we've been getting from our partners, from our friends in the West, from the European Union, including Cyprus, from the United States, from the United Kingdom, from many, many other countries that help us stand against the aggression. This is the most horrible aggression since the Second World War, and this is happening in Europe.
So, do you think they could do more, or what do you feel they could do more?
They have introduced an unprecedented array of sanctions. Even countries who have been for a long time neutral, Switzerland, they have introduced sanctions. They have joined the West in pressing Russia to stop the aggression. Of course, sanctions work, but we need more.
Can you be more specific, sir?
I can say that closing the airspace in Europe makes it very hard to stand and makes Russia suffer. I believe that closing airspace in Ukraine would make a difference, would be an efficient tool. And this is something, this is not the only one tool that we have in our possession.
Although, on the other hand, there are countries that feel that certain actions might lead to a third world war.
Again, the time has come to take a stand. The time has come to understand that we shouldn't let Russia intimidate us. Blackmailing is there. I wouldn't be in a position to speculate what might trigger the use of the nuclear weapons or whatever. So, but
why do you think we are in this certain situation now and not last year or the year before? What triggered Russia's action?
We have to look into the history of the aggression. Actually, the aggression started back in 2014. Russia has been testing for many years, testing the ability of the West to stand against the aggressive actions. So we can recall aggressive war against Georgia. We can recall aggressive steps by Russia against Ukraine during those two people's revolutions in Ukraine. But the Revolution of Dignity in 2015 made the turning point.
How realistic was your president's request to the EU for immediate accession, having in mind that there are criteria, economic and others? So, do you expect an immediate response?
How realistic we were not to believe that Russia would invade Ukraine. And as I said, today we deal with unprecedented challenges in Europe, unprecedented security challenges. So unprecedented threat, unprecedented challenge requires unprecedented actions.
So, do you still believe, sir, that joining NATO will secure and help the safety of the country, or would you be willing to put this on hold in order to reach some sort of an agreement?
First of all, NATO aspiration is clearly in our constitution, and it's clear and it's strong. Any decision to change that stance is up to the people of Ukraine. That is that easy to respond.
On the other hand, you are on a table trying to negotiate. So is this something negotiable or not?
As far as the negotiations are concerned, so we see that the first try to have initial discussion as to the settlement of the situation, which would primarily have to deal with stopping the aggression. Actually, the first touch was under the shelling, despite the fact that Lukashenko promised that there would be no shelling. So we still have to see what the negotiations will be, what the discussion would be, what will be the issues would be on the table. Mm-hmm. But I don't think that, again, when it comes to the NATO aspiration, this is the legislation of Ukraine, this is the constitution of Ukraine.
Yes, but do you accept the argument that Russia also is trying to secure the country, does not have the will to have NATO in the neighborhood and on the borders?
Russia has been telling the West that it needs the security guarantees. But look at what is happening. The aggressor state needs security guarantees. This is exactly the opposite. Ukraine under attack. West has been going through the security challenges. We need guarantees that this kind of invasion, this kind of threat out of Russia wouldn't be possible. So this is absolutely different perspective, different understanding, which is right. Mm-hmm. This is about the aggressor state, which brings threats, security threats, to the European continent.
Allow me this direct question, Mr. Ambassador. Is there any kind of threat for the Russian minority in your country?
One would immediately ask the definition of Russian minority in Ukraine. If this is the old narrative of Russians about Russian-speaking people, so this is absolutely false. This is a false propaganda. We have Russian-speaking people not only in Donbass, in central, in southern Ukraine. Russian language is nothing to do with what is happening now.
And there are not under threats by Nazist teams or organizations.
Okay, are you able to name at least one of those, as you said, Nazist organizations? I don't know. This is a Russian propaganda, which is absolutely false. They would be to name one would bring us to the understanding that there is no Nazi teams or whatever they say. What is going on is actually the shelling of civilians, killing kids, killing children, shelling residential area. This is Nazism.
So you're not accepting also the position that Russia is targeting only army positions and military targets?
Russia clearly targeting civilians. Russia clearly shelling civilian areas, small cities, residential areas. There are tons of videos confirming specific hitting of residential areas, killed people, killed civilians.
You named some countries and their response on the sanctions. I would like a comment about the response that Turkey has.
I'm not in a position to comment on any third country. I, as the ambassador to the Republic of Cyprus, I just want to make it clear that we are absolutely happy with the level of support we've been enjoying from the parts of the Republic of Cyprus, from the government, from the parliament, from specifically from ordinary Cypriots.
Yes, let me rephrase that. Okay, the response to the invasion was overwhelming for the major international community. Why do you think that the same response didn't happen when Turkey invaded Cyprus?
I wouldn't like myself to dwell or to speculate on that, but I just can bring something which I've already mentioned. There is some sort of genesis in the position of, in the perception of the West as far as the Russian aggressiveness is concerned. What we've been experiencing is a change in the position of many countries vis-à-vis Russia. This is the this is the policies and aggressive practices that aim at breaking the existing world war rules. This is the threat for the whole system of international security, international law, and there should be no doubt for anyone that this is exactly the right time to take tough and strong decision, not to let our world get back into the Middle Ages. This is that much important, this is that much real, what we've been witnessing now.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Κυρίες και κύριοι, δείτε σε πολύ λίγο.